I want to bring up a case that's been receiving a lot of attention recently. Columnist Suzanne Moore has written a very damning article in The Guardian about the ways that the media and society have fixed their gaze on Oscar Pistorius in this murder trial, barely taking into account the woman that he killed. In her article titled "Reeva Steenkamp was a victim of male violence, that is the real story," she writes, quote, "There are several ways to disappear women. One is to shoot them in the head and cry about the bloody aftermath. Another is not to mention their names while writing about such a shooting." The first BBC bulletins of the day of the Oscar Pistorius sentence chose to talk immediately to the corporation's sports correspondent. The urgent questions were about how long it would be before Pistorius could compete internationally and whether he would be able to train in prison. Sport is more important than justice for women who were raped or killed, whether by way of murder or manslaughter. And she adds, so as the world watched the Pistorius trial, somewhere in the back of our heads was an understanding that this is how it is and this is how it ends, with a shorter sentence than for killing a rhino. Women are not an endangered species, after all. Kim, what do you think about that?
I could not agree more. I am always astounded, and not just in domestic violence case, but since we're talking about that now, about the attention that's paid on the offender. Not why did the woman leave, and the questions that people typically ask who don't understand domestic violence, but they barely ask any questions about the offender, or they attack the prosecutor's office and the police for deigning to arrest and charge them. Especially athletes or people that have positions of authority, and we have to literally stand up and literally sometimes have to explain ourselves, and the victim becomes the person put through the meat grinder. We don't look at why the offender did what they did or what the offender did in holding them accountable. Everybody is always rushing to judgment. I was astounded when I heard that the most he may do in prison is 6 to 10 months. And that does not take into account anything when it came to how the victim lived in her life and how she was killed.
Nicole, what do you think about that?
Because I think she's exactly right. I mean, if there was ever an example of what the war on women looks like, it's this. I mean, I agree that after the Pistorius sentencing, and that what people immediately started to focus on was whether or not he'd be able to compete again and how long. It's just appalling to think that it is disgusting.
Yeah, Nicole, what do you think?
I was very angry. I'm still very angry about that case. And in general, I've met a lot of women, a lot of other survivors and victims who have had similar experiences with short sentences. My ex-husband, for example, was approved for parole after serving 16 months. He was about to be released, and that's after 2 aggravated stalkings. I couldn't even tell you how many violations of restraining order and probation. And quite frankly, the reason that he ended up not being released is that he was, other inmates came forward where he's currently incarcerated, stating that he was attempting to hire people to take my life, that he was also saying as soon as he was released from prison, he was going to kill me himself. They were going to see him on the news. So I'm angry. I'm very angry about the fact that sentences for domestic violence and stalking are often shorter than for animal abuse, animal cruelty cases. And I'm not just angry for myself, but I'm angry for all the victims and survivors out there who know that in maybe 12 months, the person's going to be out again, stalking them, threatening them. They're going to be living their lives in fear again. And it's not fair.